friends, welcome to the Peacock Homestead. My name is Elizabeth. So for this week, we are at week 4 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and I've been doing a lot of preserving. I've canned salsa, peach salsa, regular tomato salsa. I did a batch of peach sauce. I also did 2 batches of peach jam, and I did some homestead cooking because we always trying to cook from scratch here. And I've been doing some seed saving. These are my cilantro seeds. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, stick around and let's get into the video. This week was such a big preservation week. I was so busy preserving all the peaches that we got from the Amish, and then I got a half a bushel of tomatoes. So these are the peaches that we get every year from our friends down the street. And I like to make peach sauce, peach jam, and peach salsa with it, and then we eat it fresh. This year we decided that we weren't going to can any in slices, so we're just going to vacuum pack some up and put it in the freezer. Peach jam is my favorite jam in the whole universe, and I discovered that I can make it so much cheaper if I do it myself. So that's why I buy in bulk from the Amish or the farmer's market, and it works out pretty good. So all I did was chunk up my peaches, and I added my sugar, 7 cups of sugar, and then I added a half a cup of lime juice. And this year I decided that I'm not going to be using any pectin at all. I don't really want to go out of my way to buy something special when I can just boil it down and just can it as is. But if I wanted to make peach jelly, I would definitely have to use some pectin. But this year I'm sticking to jam. So I'm just going to fill up my half-pint jars. I'm going to clean all the rims and get the lids on finger tight and get them in the steam canner. And I was just going to process these all for about 15 to 20 minutes because they're all different sizes. I have a half pints here, and I have an actual pint there. So there is a few different sizes. So I'm just going to start that up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And please excuse the hubs and Jack. Jack is playing in the background with his little duck, and my husband is working on the chicken door outside in the front of the house with his power tools. And look at that beautiful peach jam. It has such an amazing color, and the taste just pops. It's like sunshine on your toast. These are the onions that I get from the Amish every year. I got 4 racks. That'll last me throughout the whole winter. And my little onions in my refrigerator, so we're set on onions now. So that is very exciting. I'll just periodically check on them, and if they start to go bad, I can chop them up and put them in the freezer. Still trying to get creative with the zucchini, so I decided that I was going to make a zucchini boat that night for dinner. I'm just going to core it out like I am coring a pumpkin. Leave some meat in there, and then for the filling I was going to use the peppers and onions that I had preserved and froze with a little bit of ground pork. So here I just added some salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder just to add more flavor because it's pretty bland. And then I'm just browning up the ground pork, the onions, and the peppers. And I'm gonna add a few eggs to it just to add some extra protein and use up some of my extra eggs. And then that's gonna be the filling. And for the spice, I chose thyme. So I'm just gonna grab some thyme from my garden and throw that right in there. That's from the jar that I had dehydrated. I'm gonna give that a mix, and then we're gonna fill this zucchini. So I got them filled up as much as I could, and now I'm going to put some mozzarella cheese on top and pop that in the oven. And I cooked this for about 50 minutes at 350 degrees. And it actually turned out really good. The hubs actually asked for seconds, so I was so surprised. I'm definitely going to put this on the menu for a future meal. And hopefully we can come up with more ideas for some savory dishes using my zucchini. So I have a helper here. This is Severus, and we are going to be making some peach salsa today. And I have some really good ideas on how I'm going to use this. So I have some peaches here. I gave them a good wash. I have some peppers, and I have some of these jalapeno peppers and my onions. So I'm just gonna chop everything up, and I'm going by the recipe in the blue ball book. So I'm just going by the peach salsa recipe, but instead of using vinegar, I'm using lime juice, and I'm also using pineapple juice. So I just had these extra peppers and jalapenos, and I vacuum packed them up for future meals, and I'm gonna put them in the freezer. And then I couldn't fit everything into one pan, so I have 2 pans here, and I'm gonna get these going on the stove. Usually for salsa, you boil it for about 10 minutes, and then you can get it canned up and in your water bath or steam canner. I'm gonna be using my steam canner. I prefer to use a steam canner because it's not splashing boiling water on my arms. I like to burn myself a lot on accident, and it really hurts and it leaves scars. So I just prefer using a steam canner. When processing in the steam canner, it's the same amount of time as it is when you water bath. So I'm just going to be processing these for about 15 minutes. And this is what the peach salsa looked like. So I went for a more restaurant style kind of consistency, and I'm going to be putting this on chicken, roasting it in the oven. I'll be putting it on pork, and we'll be using it for a dipping salsa. Just there's so many things we can do with this. So I'll be super happy to have this on my shelf for the winter. We decided to freeze a bunch of our peaches because I was going to make some peach pies throughout the winter. So I just measured out 2 cups to each bag, and then we kept some for fresh eating, just a few, because they actually ripened up very quickly. And I'm just going to make another batch of peach jam to have that on my shelf as well. And here I am starting some bagels, and I'm also starting a batch of sourdough bread. So I'm going to make 2 loaves of artisan bread this week. And I didn't bake it on this day because I was so exhausted by the end of the day. So I just popped them in my fridge and let them marinate. And I'm still working on preserving those peaches. Here I have a bunch of peaches in my slow cooker, and now I'm going to be making some peach sauce. And remember those greens I got from the farmer's market? I have to get those in jars or else they'll go bad. So I'm just going to fill 4 quart jars and get them processed in my Presto canner. We're definitely going to be thanking ourselves later for all this hard work. So I'm super happy to have these 4 jars on my shelf for future meals. And this is the other batch of jam that I had started. It's pretty much almost finished, so I'm just going to get that all going in the steam canner, and then we'll have those on the shelf as well. And right here I have my peach sauce that I'm going to be canning up soon, but I want it to cook down a little bit more than this. It seems a little runny, so I'm just going to let this go until dinner time. And we'll get this in the steam canner as well. For dinner, we are going to have chicken thighs with the peach salsa over that. I'm going to roast it in the oven. So I'm going to pop this in the oven at 375 and just let it go. And we are going to come back to that, and I'll show you what that looks like. This week, we decided that we were going to put the baby chicks out with the big kids since they're pretty much the same size as the little chickens. So the only ones that are picking on them is Thelma and Louise. And of course, they're Rhode Island Reds. What do you expect? They are bigger and they're bullies. So we're just monitoring everything, and I think they're doing okay. They're getting the hang of going in and out. We've been having to put them in every night, and last night everyone did pretty good, and we made them a new roast in the coop. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone will start getting along by the end of the week. I planted zinnias in my garlic bed. They're doing pretty good. And my loofahs here, they're getting really big. Those are in the same bed as a stinging nettle. And I have a little friend here. It's a mullein plant, and I did not plant that, so that's a blessing. Next year it'll get its flowers. So I did a bit of seed saving this week. These are my cilantro seeds, which are coriander, and I've just been gathering all the dry seeds, and I was excited to show you guys that. So real quick, I wanted to show you all of my beautiful zinnia flowers in the back. I had recycled my wooden garden beds from the side of the house, and we put them in the back, and we planted a bunch of zinnia, and these are so beautiful. They're just lasting all summer long. And these are beautiful marigolds. I've been putting a few of the petals in the nesting boxes, and they are loving it. And this is our tomato bed. We're finally getting bigger tomatoes, so I was going to let them ripen on the vine. And then we'll probably use these to make some barbecue sauce or some more pasta sauce. We're definitely excited about our tomatoes. They're looking really nice. I was walking through the garden and I noticed that I have eggplant buds. So this is going to be a beautiful eggplant flower, and maybe I'll get an eggplant. And I noticed I had some peppers that I needed to harvest. So that's a Amish pepper on the end there. That is so hot. And then that's just a green pepper. And then I see a banana pepper back there. I have some kale here. I'm just going to wait for it to get a little bit bigger. And then I have some spinach coming up and some bush beans that we had planted. They're getting some flowers, so maybe we'll have another succession of those. And then I have some snap peas, or sugar peas. I think they're sugar peas. Over here we have our little pumpkin patch. Our pumpkins are turning orange, so I think they're pretty much ready to be plucked. I've had to pick a few pumpkins off the patch because of worms and whatnot, but that's okay. I made this beautiful pumpkin bread with chocolate chips, and I can't wait to show you guys that. I have to say this is the best pumpkin patch we've had this year. I think it's because of the fertilizer that we used and just the TLC. So I wanted to show you some seed saving. I did collect some cilantro seeds. Seed saving is such a huge part of preservation. So it's having a peace of mind, knowing that you are going to have seeds for the next year and you're going to have crops for the next harvest. I think of it as my seed savings account. So all you're essentially doing is you're letting the plant go to its full maturation and it's forming a seed, and then it's drying, and that's when you pull it off the plant. You garble the seed, which is just extracting it off the stem, and then you are going to let it dry, air dry for about a week or so, and then put it in a container and store it away. And don't forget to label. I've made that mistake before, and I just planted things and I was like, oh, that's what that seed was. Once you get used to the process of seed saving and knowing when the plant is fully mature and sending off seeds, it's actually really fun. As a herbalist, it's definitely one of my favorite things to do is to save seeds. These are the poblano seeds that I had saved from the poblano peppers that I got from the farmer's market. So I've been drying them on this plate, and I let them dry for a good week, and now I am just putting it in my container, labeling it, and then I'm gonna put it on the shelf and try to grow these for next year. While we were in the garden, I was processing this kale. It is all done finally. It took 90 minutes. And I'm gonna go ahead and get these processing. So this is my second batch of peach jam, and I will be popping that in the steam canner. I'm gonna process these for about 20 minutes. By the time everything was processed, dinner was ready to come out and we're ready to eat. And this is the chicken with the peach salsa on it, and I roasted that in the oven. It was amazing. And these are the leftover mashed potatoes from yesterday, and we're gonna eat dinner, and it was so delicious. I love the combination with the chicken and the peach salsa. We'll definitely have to put that on the menu for a future meal. Finally, that night, I got all the peach sauce all canned up. That's what it looks like. It was so delicious. I had to try a little spoonful, and I'm gonna be using that in so many things. And that is another thing to stock our shelf for the winter. So this is all the work finally done canning this day, and I am ready for bed. And I think it's time to get another shelf. I'll probably be showing it in the next video, but I ordered another shelf off of Amazon, and it is definitely much needed. So you'll get a glimpse of that in the next video. Now that all my peaches are preserved, I have a place to put all of my squash. So I have some buttercup squash here, and I have my pumpkins, and the peach boxes were perfect. So I'll just store them in the dining room as well. So these are the Roma tomatoes that I had got from the Amish, and I'm gonna make some salsa with these. And my bestie is supervising. Today is the day that I'm gonna bake the bread and bagels. I started it on Wednesday, and I decided that I couldn't finish because I had to work and I didn't have time to finish it, so I just popped it in the refrigerator so it just fermented a little bit longer, and it actually made better bread and bagels. This is one of the little pumpkins that came out of the pumpkin patch, and I had another one. I just gave it a good wash, and I cut the bad spots out, and I'm gonna roast these in the oven, and then I'm gonna make some pumpkin bread, and of course I'm gonna sneak some chocolate chips in there. Don't tell the hubs. So let's get these roasted at 375, and I'm just gonna periodically check and poke it with a knife to see if it's cooked, and then we'll get it pureed and ready to get in the bread. So this is the bagels going in the oven. I put everything bagel seasoning on half. I left the other half plain because I like to have jam or jelly on it. And this is what they look like, all baked up, and the kitchen smells amazing. I'm just gonna try one, of course, and then I'm gonna put them in the freezer. I love having my bagels with cream cheese and some candied jalapeno peppers. I haven't canned any this year because I didn't need any, but I am storing some jalapeno peppers in the freezer for when I do need to can it, so I'm kind of storing away a little bit at a time. And when I have about 3 pounds, I'll make a batch of candied jalapeno peppers, and I can't wait to bring you guys along with me when I do that. So the pumpkin is all roasted. I'm gonna let it cool because it's piping hot. And then I'm gonna peel the skins off and get it in my Ninja blender and blend it all up. And then I'm gonna just put together the mix real quick. All I did was go by my Homestead apple banana bread recipe on my blog, thepeacockhomestead.com, and I used 2 cups of pumpkin. I doubled the recipe, so I got 2 loaves. And of course I snuck in the chocolate chips. It was totally worth it. I'm actually gonna let these sit on the counter, and I'm gonna bake my bread first because I already have my oven preheated with my Dutch oven in it. And I'm gonna pop this in the oven. These loaves turned out so beautiful, and we tried a little bit the next morning for breakfast, and it was super delicious. I think it's because I let them ferment longer in the fridge. I will definitely have to make a note of that. So for dinner, I wanted to make an easy dinner, so we're gonna have a sourdough pancakes. I love this recipe out of the Daily Sourdough book from Lisa Boone. It is an amazing sourdough book. So I am just cooking up my pancakes. I got the pumpkin bread in the oven and I got the bacon underneath. I was multitasking, and the bread is all cooked up. I'm gonna put one of these loaves in the freezer, and we are gonna eat off this for the week. And dinner is done, and we didn't eat all these pancakes. I put some in the freezer. I like to take the leftover breakfast and I use it for breakfast for the week when I'm working. So Tom had just regular maple syrup, and I had a little bit of this strawberry jam that I had made. It was so delicious. It definitely hit the spot that night. The reason why I wanted to cook pancakes and make it an easy dinner, because I was gung-ho on getting these tomatoes processed, because they've been sitting there for a couple days in my dining room, and I needed to get them processed up. I got some peppers from Aldi's, and then I have my onions that I gotten from the Amish. I'm gonna use 6 of them because I'm doubling the recipe, and I believe it was 12 pounds of Roma tomatoes. And then for heatness level, I put in 2 jalapeno peppers and then my Amish pepper that I grew in my garden, and that was significantly hot. So this is going to be a bit spicy, but that is okay. I can't wait to use this in different meals. So I'm just going to fill my jars and get them in the steam canner. So there was 2 batches of steam canning, and I had 1 can left over, but that's okay. I popped that in the fridge and we'll use that for a meal. And I'm just so excited that I am able to do all this, and I taught myself how to can and everything. It's such a blessing to have all this product and to be able to buy it from the Amish and farmers market. And I just wanted to also thank Jessica over at the Three Rivers Homestead for hosting this, and it was so fun, and I can't wait for next year. It's so much fun watching all the other families in the Every Bite Counts challenge, and to see what they preserved. It was definitely a blast, and I can't wait for the new videos to come out for next week. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's it, friends. I hope you have a beautiful week, many blessings, and I can't wait to make the next video for you guys. So I'll see you in the next one.